Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is December the 6th, 2017. Big shout out to my baby sister. Happy birthday to her. I think this is her 19th or 21st birthday again. So Dana Lynn, happy birthday. Love you very much from your big little brother. So I hope you're doing great today. Hope I'll see you later tonight for dinner. I'm going to take you and your significant other out to a place I really like, so I hope you guys enjoy that tonight. So just want to say happy birthday to my sister, and I'll just sing a little bit. I don't want to sing that. That'll be dramatic for everybody here. We got a great guest today I want to tell you about also, so I don't want to burn his ears or the ears of our show's producer and board runner, Mr. Tony Sweet, owner of UBN Radio, of course. So let's talk about a few things that have been on my mind, and I want to address a few issues that I've gotten via email, Facebook, and Twitter about CrossFit. So let's talk about CrossFit today. That's going to be our medical moment. Then I want to touch upon a few other things today before I bring on our extraordinary guest, Mr. Adam Stripes Bell. CrossFit is what I call a real fitness phenomena that I actually love and I'm a part of. I do CrossFit 3 to 5 times a week. So along with boxing, with skydiving, and gymnastics, and my other strength conditioning, I do CrossFit also. I love CrossFit. The great thing I think CrossFit does, it gives you a lot of diversity in your workout. So you're not simply doing just a Stairmaster. You're not just doing a few push-ups. You're really doing HIIT, high-intensity interval training. And the great thing about that is it gives your body a chance to really adapt to different types of movement. It's great for not only cardiovascular endurance, but also for strengthening your muscles, strengthen your bones. And you want to have strong bones, of course, to stave off the issues of osteoporosis and osteopenia, so especially for women. And when I talk about CrossFit, so often I'm really, people will talk about how bad CrossFit is and this, that, and the other. No, it's not bad. The issue with CrossFit, like any other fitness type of regimen you have, there are 2 words which are applicable to life: balance and moderation. So if you're doing a class 5 days a week and you're having joint pain or muscle pain or injuries, then do it less, maybe 3 times a week. Listen to your body. Why? Because you take you wherever you go. So if you're having issues with something, just say, hey, let me do something different. But of course, if you do the same things, you get the same results. So it's really about making the adaptions that are needed for your body, for your mind, for your level of stress, for your own mental well-being, as well as for your physical conditioning. Now, if you're getting prepared for example, I had the trifecta this year, the Spartan race, the Beast, the Run, and the Super. So the last one was 17.5 miles with 33 obstacles, a quarter-mile swim, blah, blah, blah. It was intense. So my training for that was very different than versus, running a marathon or getting ready to do some type of boxing event. So the key is what I want to share with you is listen to your body. Your body is the ticket to get you to where you want to go, and CrossFit is a way to get there because CrossFit, again, offers you a wide range of exercise that you can do. And the great thing about CrossFit that I really love is that the gym is where your body is. So you can do CrossFit exercises at home or in your gym. You don't have to go to the gym to do a CrossFit exercise. Or you can look up online how to do a Tabata type workout, where you do something for 20 seconds, take 10 seconds off, you do that for several rounds. There's so many ways of working out and getting fit. The goal here is the following. If you want to be fit, if you want to have a great, healthy body, then the goal is this: do something every day. Why? Because we're usually eating every day. So with that said, your body only reflects what you do to it. So if you want a 6-pack or 8-pack, a 10-pack or 12-pack or a keg, you have to do those exercises. If you don't want that, then you get the following results. The goal is balance, moderation, but do something every day. Exercise is really a lifestyle, so you want to embrace that. You want to really think every day, what did I do before I go to bed? Did I do a few push-ups, a few sit-ups? Did I do 30 to 45 minutes of aerobic conditioning? Did I take 30 to 45 minutes just to be still and mindful, to be in a place of gratitude, to be in a place of stillness? No matter if you have your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your lover or your kids, what about just backing up and taking time to be still and to simply be grateful for the day. That's also a part of what I call my CrossFit mentality. Yes, I work my body, but also have to work my mind and my spirit. And I think mindfulness, being still and taking time to really appreciate the day, to wake up and actually laugh about life, to wake up with your friend, your husband, your partner, whomever, and really just be happy without complaining about anything. You know, my dad used to say complaining begets nothing but more complaining, and gratitude begets more gratitude. I've always loved that because I think it's true. When you live in that place of gratitude, knowing that every day is a gift, and every day gives you an opportunity to do something nicer for someone else, to be a better version of yourself. And that's why we're here. We're simply here to be better versions of ourselves every day. So think about that. That means, am I being more compassionate today than I was yesterday? Am I being more forgiving today than I was yesterday? Am I being more loving and compassionate and more accepting of everybody today than I was yesterday? Am I being of greater service to people today more than I was yesterday? It's really about everyday evolution, being better and better and better, and not sitting in the place of, well, I do this every day, it's the same thing every day, that type of regimen. No. Because then there's no growth. There's only lateral movement or maybe no movement at all, it's stagnation. The goal really for this lifetime, and I think for every lifetime, is doing something every day to become a better version of yourself. And guess what? We all have the potential to do that via CrossFit or via meditation or prayer, whatever works for your life. It's really about service, balance, and moderation. Now, with that said, so that's our medical moment. CrossFit, the beauty of CrossFit, again, the diversity of the exercises, the ability to become more fit cardiovascularly as well as with muscular endurance and fitness, have greater ability to stretch more. It's easier for your joints when you stretch them out. Of course, do stretching before and after and even during your CrossFit classes. Stay well hydrated. And then think about how often do you want to do those? Do you want to do it twice a week, 3 times a week? For myself, 5 days a week. But do what works for your body. If it doesn't work for you, guess what? It doesn't work for me. Because you take you wherever you go. So you want to take a strong, healthy, powerful, empowered, inspired, wonderful, magnanimous, spectacular you. That's what you want to do. So I hope that works for you. I hope it does. Now, let's talk about our great guest today, and I'll tell him I want him to talk about the amazing, amazing camp that they do, which is great because their camp is really about making an investment in the future. Because when you invest in young minds, you invest in older adults. Because hopefully those young minds will become better men or women. And the Pyles Boys Camp is really about that. It's about helping these young minds evolve into better versions of themselves, to be more compassionate, more loving, more caring, more service-oriented, and not simply egocentric or even ego-driven. So what I love about their campaign, it's really about taking disadvantaged youth and having them come to a place where they are appreciated, they have a chance to express themselves artistically and to grow, and more importantly, as I said earlier, and I have to just hone on this again and again and again, Pyles Boys Camp is about helping young boys become better men, stronger men, more focused men, better men of service. And I think when you have an organization like this, they're investing in the future. You know, this type of organization reminds me to be a better man, a better physician, to be more caring, more loving, more accepting, less judgmental. So I really want to thank our guest for being with us today, taking time out of his really, really busy schedule. Adam Stripes Bell is with us today. So, Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's really great to have you here today. So, I want to talk about you a little, but I also want to talk about Pyles Boys Camp. So, how did you get involved initially with this camp?
You know, I come from upstate New York where I worked at a large summer camp since the time I turned 16 and could get a job.
Right. So you came from Rochester.
Yes.
Right.
So enjoying sunny California now, and moved out here a few years ago with my wife.
Yes.
And wanted to get back involved into camping. And as soon as I heard about the mission of Pyles, I was hooked immediately. You know, daring boys to become men.
Right.
Who couldn't get behind that mission. So, you know, I had some interviews and got involved, met some of the board members,
Yes.
and it's been great ever since. I've been there about a year now.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. When you look at your involvement over the past year, what are the challenges that you've seen with the camp as it's grown over the past year?
It's sort of topical today, but we've had challenges with wildfires.
Right.
So last summer we had to end our summer early, meaning some of our boys didn't get to come up to the camp and experience the program.
Right.
So that's certainly a challenge. Not much you can prevent.
Right.
Just be prepared for and have a safe evacuation route. Which
Absolutely.
fortunately, no property was damaged
And no lives lost.
No lives lost. No one injured. So we were. With the good planning of our staff, we were able to make it out okay. It's heartbreaking we couldn't serve those boys, but
of course.
We do follow up throughout the year.
Right.
We do events, phone calls, check-ins. So we've been upping our game with that.
Which is really fantastic. Now, what about this? How does the Pyles Boys Camp stay financially solvent?
We've been blessed to not have to take $1 of government money since we started.
Which is really amazing.
In 1949.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's to the thanks of the generosity of individual donors, corporate donations, and foundations. We do some events as well. So we have to raise about $1 million every single year to serve our 500 boys.
Wow.
And so we've been blessed with a lot of folks who've been involved for a long time. We have multi-generations of supporters.
Yes.
And now we have an alumni association who've been really stepping up their game and helping spread the message. I've been joking the last year, our unofficial slogan is we're the best kept secret in the Sequoias.
Right.
And certainly I want to change that. So thank you for this opportunity to do that.
Of course.
And they've been working hard to introduce more people to the camp. And
Yes.
being 4 hours away in the Sequoias, it's hard to show people what we do without just introducing them to the men who have grown up from the program. And,
Absolutely.
This alumni group have been instrumental in doing that.
I think it's fantastic. I want to ask you, as a child, did you do any camping with your family?
I did. I used to spend a lot of my summers going to hockey camp, though.
Oh, got it.
And I really didn't get involved in the traditional camping until later on. And that's actually where I get my camp name, Stripes. I am a hockey referee as well.
Oh, you really?
And as I say, Stripes is probably the only camp appropriate thing I get called while I'm refereeing. I was focusing on that, and later into my teenage years,
yes.
Found a traditional summer camp experience, and immediately regretted not having done that since the time I was a little kid.
Of course,
it's. The camp, though, the way we're built, it is built on the childhood memories of our founder, Bob Pyles.
Right.
He used to he wasn't born with a silver spoon.
Let's talk about him a little bit too.
Okay,
I want to hear about his story, because the interesting thing about me with this camp is that it's been sustainable from 1940s to now. So a lot of things will, like a camp like this, or anything, may come in vogue for maybe a year or two, even a decade. But to be sustained for decades, this is really, it's pretty phenomenal feat.
Yeah. And, Bob Pyles had a vision that has been passed down for generations.
Yes.
And, he used his love of camping as a child and as an adult to instill the values of being a good citizen and being hardworking and giving back to your community. And built the camp, and he started as an entry-level young man in the oil industry and worked his way up to becoming an executive.
Wow!
So we've been blessed with that industry has certainly done well at times, and been very generous to us, and that has been part of the legacy and the longevity of the program. And the camp program, I think as we always dive in and how are we going to change next year? What are we going to do different?
Right.
And I think for us, a lot of times the answer is we're not.
Because it works so extremely well.
Yeah. And the way we attract the boys and get them up to camp, and the way we follow up, that may change. But unplugging for 2 weeks, putting 50 pounds on your bag or in your bag on your back, and hiking for 5 days and sleeping in the wilderness, that will teach young men lessons, I think, forever.
Absolutely. I mean, it really, to me, when I read about the camp, it is to me, a teaching platform of how to be better people, but also how to increase your physical endurance, how to be fit, how to be a team player, how to develop your leadership skills. It's really about the whole psyche and mental development of a young man involved with the program.
Yeah, and we have lessons tied into every single thing that we do. And you talked about gratitude in your opening.
My favorite word.
That I found that remarkable this summer. A lot of our boys come from low-income backgrounds,
right.
so they don't have much at home, material goods, giant homes.
Right.
So they come to camp, and we don't have giant cabins either. They're sleeping on mattress in a cabin with right. 8 of their closest friends.
Right.
Then they go into the backcountry and they sleep outside for 5 days, and they come back, and now all of a sudden that thin mattress, they have gratitude for that.
Very much so.
So then we debrief that into thinking about what do they have at home,
right.
and what can they be grateful for.
Right.
So that's just one example of a way to tie a lesson into something as simple as a tiny mattress in a cabin.
I love that because it really gives you a perspective about what is gratitude. Mm-hmm. Gratitude is being grateful for what you have now. Not even thinking about the future or what you didn't have in the past, what you have right now, to just simply be thankful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And certainly when we get up into the backcountry, you don't have your cell phone.
Right.
Even if they snuck one in, there's no service.
Right.
So they really have to be present and be mindful, right. and rely on one another. That cup of hot chocolate on the 11th morning,
right?
That it's never tasted so good.
Right.
Like I said, when they get back to the city, there's different challenges they have to face, and we have to adapt and serve our boys there. But the lessons and the values we can teach up at camp will never change.
I think it's great. When I was a kid, my family was so extraordinarily poor that, I couldn't do things with the Cub Scouts or even become a Boy Scout because we just didn't have the money to pay the dues, Mm-hmm. And my mom, she had my sister involved with I don't know if you remember this, the Brownies. Do you remember the Brownies and the Girl Scouts? Well, my sister was a Brownie for a while. My mother tried that, but again, she couldn't afford it, being a single parent and having kids. And in my mind, I've always thought, how would I be different if I had that opportunity like some of the other kids in the environment or the area where I lived who went, during the summers, mm-hmm. go away for just, I think, like a week or two. But I've always thought that would be such a great way to bond with people that you don't really know.
Yeah. And in some cases, we have kids coming from the same school or the same neighborhood that they might be in different groups that don't get along down in the city. When they come up and they need to rely on each other, it really builds bridges and helps, when they go back, not right. only are we impacting those 2 boys, but their circles of influence and those that they do influence, we can hope that, that's our hope, to have a big impact when they get down to the city.
Oh, I think the program definitely does, because just by having 2 people on, let's say, and not even in gangs, but just different social groups, by bringing them together, it really helps to change the social narrative. Mm-hmm. So when they come back, they're different. Even if the groups are the same, they're different. So when they go back in the group, that message gets infiltrated through the group. So hopefully that does build a bridge of communication, at least,
Yeah, and I think that's the strength of being so far out of their comfort zone and out of their environment, is that it's okay, after a day or two being up there, they take their mask off and right. they get back to the basics and fundamentals, right. and be yes. themselves, and learn that it's okay to be friends with this other person that I may not have.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I love about your program is that it's really about not only bringing disadvantaged youth, but youth that I think are really disenfranchised. Mm-hmm. Not just disadvantaged, but disenfranchised. Thought to be not really, like I felt as a kid, not really included, to not really be valuable, to sort of be like the unimportant of society, sort of like those people. So I think it's great when those people become all of us, we the people, together.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we all want to belong to something.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And so for those boys who don't, we can give them that opportunity, right. And have them be part of the Pyles family.
Right.
Or even better, they can become part of the Pyles family, and when they get back to their school or their community, they have the desire or the drive or they've been inspired.
Yep.
to go get involved at their police activities league or boys and girls club or in a school club or a sport or an academic group. And a lot of our boys have that in them. They just haven't had somebody tell them that yet.
Exactly.
So, it's largely from their own effort and their own drive. And we just want to point them and show them
direction.
What skills they have and what tools they have.
What I love about the program, to me, it seems to plant the seed of we believe in you. Mm-hmm. That if no one told you that before, if you've not heard it before, if you're a part of this program, we believe that you can do what you want to do, that you can succeed. Because it has to affect them scholastically also. When they go back to school, they have to be more motivated to do even better. They have to be.
And we hear that all the time. A lot of teachers and counselors and principals select boys for us and send boys to our camp. And we get phone calls and letters. Sometimes they start with, "What did you do to this kid?" And
really,
you have that heart attack, and then they describe like they're getting A's and B's now. Right. They're staying for extra help. They're pushing themselves. it's a different child, right. So that's what gets me up in the morning, knowing that we can have that impact when they go back.
I think it's great because it also reminds you that if you change the life of that one child, you also change the life of that family of the child. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's impacted. It's not like the mother or dad, or not that they're going to get them out of juvenile or looking for a bondsman. Now they're looking for a scholastic group that they can join. Mm-hmm. I think it's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah, that's part of the job that I love is when I go meet some of our alumni who we had an alumni who keynoted a young men's conference and was talking about getting his master's at USC.
Wow.
And, coming from a neighborhood where there's a lot of people who go down a different path.
Right.
We have a young man right now on our staff who, I don't know if it's official, but to me it looks like UCLA and Brown University are competing over him for law school.
That's fantastic.
So things like that I get to brag about, and I get to talk to these remarkable young men and just be inspired by them every day.
Because they have to, as you see their metamorphosis occur, you have to be also changing on the inside too, thinking about, okay, we've inspired them and they're better. What can we do next year to inspire even more, to help even more people? It's just great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the other thing I'm passionate about is we have 72 beds for first-year campers.
Right.
And I want to make sure all of those beds are filled. And being a free program, that's another challenge is there's no loss if they don't show up the day of. Right. There's no consequence. So we're really working to inspire and to get them on the bus, working with our community partners like the schools, law enforcement officers, police activities league, boys and girls clubs to make sure that they show up and we can have our program impact them for the rest of their life.
I tell you, it has to impact them for the rest of their life because it impacts me by just reading about it. Just talking to you is impactful. So I want to know, what about the parents? What do they say about the program?
Yeah, that's similar to the situation that teachers talk about, where they come back and they say, my son came home and he made his bed, he washed the dishes, he helped with dinner. So that's the short-term impact we hear, in addition to the long-term stories that I was sharing.
That's really great. That's really great. Tell me one thing I wanted to hear. I want you to go through with me a day, the first day in the Pyles boys program, the camping. What happens like the first day when they first get there? And you have a total of 72 people there, right?
Yeah, first-year campers. We have 100 total. It's a multi-year progressive program. So we start at 12 years old and work all the way through college.
Right.
But so the day actually starts long before they get to camp because it's a 4-hour bus ride to get up there. And when the bus stops, they think they're at camp, but they're actually not. We eat lunch, and they go on a 3 to 6 mile hike into camp.
Wow!
So we start right away.
So they actually hike into the camp?
Yes, they do. It's downhill. They go by some of the giant sequoia redwoods. It's beautiful, but it's sort of that first day. The counselors get to know the boys.
It's like a wake-up call.
Absolutely. What did I just sign up for?
So you hiking in with your gear also?
We take their gear for the first hike. So
for the first hike?
Yeah.
I like that.
And so they spend a few days in camp doing traditional camp, horseback, ropes course, archery, and then they do a 5-day backpacking trip where they work with their counselor to pack their
gear?
belongings. They carry everything they need. They work together, and They go to some amazing places.
Wow.
We've had some third-year campers summit Mount Whitney and back, about 150-mile round trip in 2 weeks.
That is impressive.
Yes, and these are boys that 2 years ago might have been complaining on that opening hike.
Right.
And then they see, like, what did I just do? What else in my life did I think I could not do? And what can I go accomplish?
See, this has to really inspire them to just embrace their own personal greatness. Mm-hmm. To know that victory is yours if you work for it. That if you have a focused dream, then you can make it happen. Nothing stops you but yourself.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Wow, that is just really, I have no words, man. It inspires me just hearing it. You know, I'm curious too, what's the motto of the Pyles Boys Camp? Is there, for example, like an oath that they take or something that they say?
You know, externally we say we're daring boys to become men, and you know, when we work with them, we're just talking about, you know, what does it mean to be a good man?
Exactly.
And unfortunately, right now in society, we're hearing all sorts of stories about
sordid tales about what it is to be a man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you know, we want to dispel those rumors. Right. It's, you know, sharing that it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to hug another man and say I love you, and say that you're having troubles with something.
Absolutely.
And you have to rely on somebody else to get through it.
Right.
You know, so we end every day with a thought, or start every day with a thought of the day, and then wrap up that day with that same thought.
And give me an example. What would that be like? A thought of the day would be like something that someone chooses in the group, or something that's pretty much planned?
Yeah, our camp counselors rotate who sets the tone for that day.
Okay.
So it might be something from a philosopher or a leader, or something as silly as from Dory, just keep swimming. You know, so any sort of theme of the day that they can use, and then they when they get to archery, the archery instructor will instill that value in archery, and then as we wrap up, it's just all about a brotherhood in that, you know, wherever they go, whether they come back to camp or not, they're part of that brotherhood for the rest of their lives.
Well, I'm curious too. Is it very emotional when they finish at the end of that time period at the camp?
Yeah, for me, that was probably the most powerful experience to witness in my first summer. The very last night, we do what's called a pine cone ceremony, and there's a jar of ashes from every single summer of camp. They dump them in the fire, and a boy will come up and share his experience, and he might talk about his struggles at home, what he's facing, and how he's going back, and the goals that he set for himself when he goes back, sets the pine cone in the fire, and it you know, so all of our boys have an opportunity to do that or not. It's up to them. Right. And then at the end, the ashes go back in the bucket, and so we, you know, it ties that camper from 1949 to that camper from 2018 next summer
all together.
That
is very, very intense.
Yeah, and
that's very spiritual also.
It's very powerful hearing some of those stories, and humbling, and, you know, inspiring though too, that hearing what these boys want to do when they get back down to the city, and that keeps us, you know, driven to support them in whatever their goals might be.
Wow, I think it's fantastic. Now, I'm curious too now, what's the follow-up after they leave the program? For example, do the counselors call them in a month to say, how you doing? Or do they get letters written back and forth, or via Facebook or social media?
Yes to all of that.
Okay,
yep.
Great.
We have a young man, his camp name's Oso Motley. He's our new program director, and he's in charge of our winter follow-up. So we do everything from fun events. Took some boys to a USC football game, or career days at police or fire stations where they can learn about careers in law enforcement.
That's great.
We'll do volunteer days where we go and serve the community.
Yes.
Or this past weekend, a group went to the Museum of Tolerance. And so these are all things that our board members and our supporters are able to donate and give these opportunities to some of our young men to go experience. And we just try and stay tied in with them and allow them to earn their right to come back for summer number 2 and summer number 3 and beyond.
Now, I love that statement too. They earn the right. Mm-hmm. It's not just given. It's a privilege that they have to earn.
Yeah.
I think that makes it more valuable. You know, my father used to always say, if I give you everything, Levi, you'll appreciate nothing. Mm-hmm. So I get that philosophy. I think it's really, really fantastic. I also want to make one side note about the Museum of Tolerance. That is one of the most intense places I've ever been in my life. There's a place in Tennessee, Nashville. It's it's an African American museum, or a museum of African American history, I think it is, where it also had that same type of intense vibe. Where you go, you could literally feel the pain of the tragedy that those people went through. You know, that's a very intense place. You know, that should really wake people up to know that we have to never go back and repeat those same tragic Holocaust issue. We can never go back and let that happen again.
Yeah, and that's where our boys are the future leaders.
Very much so.
By investing in them and instilling those values, that'll help us get there. Very
much so. But taking them to that museum specifically, it's a wake-up call for anybody with the heart or with the mind, because that place is extraordinary. There's no other word for it. It's you feel the pathos there. It's just it's intense. So I'm glad you take them there, because that really wakes up everybody. Trust me, it really does. Now, I want to also know, what are the ages that you have who can attend the camp?
Our first-year campers are between 12 and 14 years old, and they're all selected by community organizations. So it's not like a walk-on, or you can't just call and register. You have to be nominated as a deserving young man. They complete their first year, and they're invited back if they earn it for their second year, which is more time spent in the backcountry. And then finally their third-year camper program. After the 3 years, they have the opportunity to become employees and be workers.
That's fantastic.
So they could be 16, 17, 18 years old, getting their first job, washing dishes, doing yard work, helping out.
Are they volunteering for that, or actually getting paid to do that work?
They're getting paid.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So we're not paying much, but
still,
it's that first job, and they're not spending anything while they're up there, and learning, most importantly, learning those job skills. So, So they truly can start when they're 12 years old and work their way all the way through college. And we offer a college scholarship program as well, or vocational training scholarship.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's just fantastic, man. Wow. You know, what I love is the fact that the whole program is really about service, and how you all as a company, how Pyles can serve the young men that are there, and then to give them the insight of then how they can come back and serve other people involved with the organization. It's a real full circle.
It is, yeah. And most of our counselors are former campers, and
that's great.
A lot of these alumni come back, and they might help out in the spring getting camp ready once the snow melts up in the mountains. They might come back and take a young staff member under their wing and instill those values from 30, 40 years ago when they were a counselor. They may not want to go on a 5-day hike in the backcountry.
Exactly.
But they can still, they're incredibly valuable to the tradition, and to offering their expertise to our 20, 21-year-old counselors who they're not at the point of having PhDs in youth development, but they have a lot of the skills that will get them there.
Right, and they experience the program, so they can actually talk to other people there about what they experienced and how wonderful it was for them. I think it's just all the pieces fit together there with Pyles. That's what it seemed like to me. It really, really, really does. Now, what about yourself? When you have a son, if you have a son, would you see him being involved with a program like this?
Absolutely. Any opportunity I could get to to have positive role models, and especially positive male role models, is so important. And like I said, walking around Pyles, you're just surrounded by amazing men.
I think it's fantastic.
Who give to others, who serve others, put others before themselves, and offer their time and talent to the world.
That's the way it should be. Now, I'm curious, when you guys are there, does everyone stay on the premises there? Or for example, can someone bring their wife or their partner and stay near but not on the campgrounds? How does that work exactly?
Well, our some of our full-time staff have spouses who come up and stay with them for the summer if their schedules allow.
Right.
We do have board members who come up and visit, and we have guest cabins that offer some privacy.
Right.
Our counselors are with the kids 100% of the time. So
it should be.
Yep. So we're hoping to have some more opportunities to have people come up and see camp next summer.
Right.
We're trying to offer, for example, we've been talking about men and boys, but offering a women's weekend for a lot of the women who support us with their time, their talent, or financially, to bring them up and have them experience camp as well.
Absolutely. I think that's important. And what about this? Are there facilities there for individuals that may have special needs?
We work on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
We have, being in the backcountry, there's a challenge with mobility.
So. Of course.
So we're as accommodating as we can with different medical needs.
Right.
Things that require an outlet like a nebulizer,
right.
we can't unfortunately accommodate in the backcountry. But we go and support those as much as we can, and we try and be as accommodating as we can.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about this? Is there a doctor on staff there, or a nurse, or some type of health professional?
Yep, we do have a healthcare provider. It's most commonly a nurse who's up on site, and we have a couple of staff who are EMTs as well.
Okay.
So
if you ever need a doctor, let me know.
We'll talk after the show.
Absolutely. It really sounds amazing. And I want to ask you personally, though, how do you think it's impacted your life as a man, as a husband, as a teacher? How has it impacted you? Because when you're there, you're teaching these young men how to be better versions of themselves. So how has it impacted your life to be the best version of you, Adam?
I think coming full circle to your opening with gratitude. When I go out and visit some of these campers in their neighborhoods, or see what their home lives are, or hear what their challenges are as a 12-year-old, and to realize how fortunate I was to not have to face some of those challenges.
Right.
And the cost of living in LA is certainly high, so that's a common discussion with my wife and I sometimes. And knowing that we're fortunate to be able to live where we do, and occasionally see a movie. Those are things that we may have taken for granted, but working with some of these kids, it just makes you stop and be appreciative of that.
Right. Because I really think, too, a program like this gives boys who are like myself, who really had nothing, who came from, rat-infested, roach-infested, pimp-infested areas, with a lot of, from gangs to prostitutes to just drug infestation. It gives an opportunity to see that, I may be from that area, but I'm not of that area. To say that, okay, yes, I may have had nothing then, but I can make my life better. So I really think this program gives every child who comes there a chance to repaint the narrative of their life. How do they see it? Is it filled with rich, vibrant, beautiful colors, or is it filled with gross, morose, horrible things that they've come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it depends on the child, I think.
Of course.
We usually see that transformation over our 2 weeks, where the first few days, it's they still have that wall up and still thinking like they think at home. And by the end,
because sometimes at home it's just about survival.
Yeah.
It's not about living. It's about, okay, I got to run through a whole area with gangs. I got to make it home safely without getting beat up, without having to fight. I have to run, to get home. I have to think about, am I going to be able to eat, when I get home? Or if I do, what are we going to eat, Am I going to have rats jumping into bed with me at night, or roaches crawling inside my ears?
Yeah, and for those boys, even if the program doesn't take them all the way to the finish line, whatever that may be, it simply could be 2 weeks away from all of that.
Absolutely.
And just the ability to unplug. And we see that with a lot of our boys, is just the incentive of being able to earn your way back for year two. That may keep them out of trouble, make them make some different choices.
And also has a goal of the next year. If I do well this year, I'll be back at Pyles, the following year.
Yep. And we work hard. That's what our winter outreach is all about, is to check in and meet the boys where they are, and work with them to make sure they follow up on the promises they set for themselves.
Absolutely. And are the parents or caregivers aware of the promises that they've set? For example, is there a contract between Pyles, the parents, and the child involved?
No, that has to do with the relationship and the case management with our program director and those families. So
makes sense.
We do work with the selecting organization and provide evaluations how that child did and try and work holistically with the families, the organization, and ourselves to make sure that wherever that child goes, they're getting that support.
Fantastic. You know, one thing you said earlier, I think it's so extraordinarily valuable and important, is the fact that when they start camp, they have to leave behind all social media. Mm-hmm. The phone, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all gone. Mm-hmm. So now it's focusing on yourself. So like to me, having just you and a mirror, now you have to really look at you. There are no distractions. Yeah. It's just you by yourself. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's great for myself and our staff too. When we get up there and we're so used to checking emails or checking Twitter and
checking the phone every time it buzzes.
Yeah, and being able to detox for us and go back to those fundamentals and be present, and it makes us better staff to be present with those boys.
Of course. You know, one thing I find, I do like a social media fast every other weekend, where after Friday I turn my phone off. Mm-hmm. My phone is off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if anyone wants to contact me, and it's only going to be people that really know me really well, they have my home phone number to call me there. But my cell is off. I'm not checking Facebook. I'm not posting. I'm not tweeting. I am just, every other weekend I do that. And it's such a, it's like a what's the word I want to use? It's like a renewal. It's like for my brain. Because Monday, when I do turn it on, then I have a stack of emails to go through, a stack of just drama.
Get back to work.
Exactly, exactly, Adam. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable, you know. I tell you, now, what does your wife think about your involvement with this program? Because she has to be very proud of you.
Yeah, and she comes from a camp background as well.
Oh, really? Both of you?
Yep. That's actually how we met. We were at different camps, but had a mutual friend.
Really? Who introduced you?
Yep. So she's been very supportive of all the long hours in the summer and all the dedication and commitment. Because she's the same way.
Wow.
She's a teacher now, and she's that teacher who comes home. She's grading papers. She's providing feedback, buying her own supplies. Just really giving her all.
She's invested.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it makes for a great partnership.
I tell you, Adam, you're amazing. That's all I can say. You know, we're here today on the Dr. Levi show with the magnetic, that's the word for him, the magnetic Adam Stripes Bell, with the Pyles. So tell people how they can reach you also.
Yep. You can go to our website at pylescamp.com. Pyles is Pyles. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Our office is in Valencia. If there's anyone in Valencia, California, you can stop on by. But we'd love to hear from you. My email is adam@pylescamp.com.
Fantastic. If they want to contact you to do a speaking engagement or anything like that, they can still reach you at that website, correct?
Yep, absolutely. And I want to try and end us being the best kept secret in Southern California.
Exactly.
So, again, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I got to tell you, this is the Dr. Levi show. I really want to thank Adam Stripes Bell with the Pyles Camp. And it's called the Pyles Boys Camp, correct? And it's usually your office in Valencia.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, what can I say? He's inspiring, magnetic. If you were here right now, you could feel the spirit sort of pulsing off him like that. It has me buzzing here. I really thank our engineer today, Mr. Tony Sweet, UBN exec and owner of this company. And it's great to be here. And I want to thank, of course, our executive producer who's not here today, Janet Rodriguez, for all of her hard work. She's greatly appreciated. So with that said, I remind everyone to join me on Twitch TV this Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll be talking to gamers from Afghanistan, from Israel, from New Zealand, from Canada. Wherever they are, that's where I'll be. So join me this Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch TV. And, of course, thanks for joining me on all my social media platforms. My name, Dr. Levi Harrison. Again, I want to remind you, please reach out to Adam Stripes Bell with the Pyles Boys Camp. they're just doing phenomenal work, and they have my vote. So hopefully the next few years I can do something to reach out and maybe go up there and visit for a day or two. I'm not a camper yet. I'm sure Adam is thinking, oh, he's not now, but he will be. But I don't know. We'll see. So this is Dr. Levi. I want to thank everyone for joining us. So have a great, great week. Remember, be kind to everyone, especially the veterans. Those women and men are the true heroes that allow us to have our sustained freedoms. And just remember, it's not difficult to be nice to people. It's pretty easy. So change the way that we think about people by changing the actions that we have toward people. This is Dr. Levi. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.